wheels on the track.
What's up? Can't do that. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the podcast we call Y.A.L.L, Youthful Alliance Leveraging Love, or AKA Y'all is Us. I'm your boy King Baker.
This is your girl Nikki Nate. Let's choose wisely.
We want to thank y'all for tuning in on a new episode that Nick has been begging me to jump on board with. We finally here. We about to get into it. But before we get into it, how you been doing, Nick?
I've been good, man. There's always a positive and a negative ions out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's been a good, I just turned 38. Man,
Okay.
What's that last Saturday? So it was
supposed to make it past 25. You made it past about 13 times.
I did. So yeah, it was 37 was an eye-opening, and 38 is just getting me ready for 40. And that's how I've been looking at everything.
That's dope. There you go.
Yes, I have not thought about 39. I was 40.
She trying to skip it.
Yeah, I was, because you have to, man.
Trying to get to the glow up quick.
No, it's because you get prepared for retirement.
Okay.
So.
But you've been putting in that work, so retirement is going to be nice for you.
Man, hopefully so. We got a lot of, it's so much to talk about. That'll probably be at the end. Get out what all of us got going on in our plans and everything like that. So.
Right.
But with this fella right here that I got over here to the right of me, this brother stays on the show with us.
Man.
He doesn't even need a bigger introduction. He
Two
always
time.
Mr. Let's get our mental health together. He's gonna give our version of his thoughts and processes on the black man's plight.
Oh.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Appreciate that. What's going on, family? Alfonzo. Most people call me Zoe. From the south side of Chicago. So happy to be here. It's family. So every time we get together, we get to, really get to the bottom of it, speak our mind, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to connect and build with y'all. So thanks for having me.
So we get into Nick already mentioned it, the black man's plight.
Yes.
That's I gotta say,
heavy.
I was gonna say that's a pretty heavy topic.
Loaded,
loaded topic.
It is. And you know why it comes apart when you in a relationship with of course they gonna say, with a black man, but
Right.
when you feel as a woman we don't know when to back off.
Yeah.
And when he's like, I don't want to feel like talking today. What's wrong with this nigga? So
True.
there's things that led up to why he's not talking.
Every time I think about the black man's plight, but when you mention it, I think about that interview with what's my man with the bug eyes? I keep forgetting his name. With the writer, the interview with him and Maya Angelou.
Not Takeshi Coates. No, he wasn't.
No, it'll come to me later. But I think about that interview a lot. She talked
Oh, you talking about with Cornel West?
No, but he talked about how she said you be at work all day.
Oh, my man's Nikki Giovanni, which is my man's
Giovanni
and James Baldwin.
James Baldwin. That's what I'm thinking
Yes.
about.
So,
I don't know why I said
man.
Angelo.
Yeah,
But
no,
Nikki
I heard
Giovanni and James Baldwin, they had that conversation.
Yeah.
And she mentioned that you at work all day and the white man got his foot on your neck and you don't lash out at him, you just take it, then you come home and you throw all of that on me.
She's like, I watched that interview. When somebody put the clip up, I said, did they watch the whole interview? And she like, you lied to me, you lied to them, but you couldn't home to me. So lie to me like you lied to them.
Right.
And I was like, why is my, because when she said that. And I've really been deeply looking into James Baldwin and her and everything like that, because that was a PBS interview and everything like that. And that was like the good days when you could smoke on the air. I'm like, wow.
Smoke anywhere.
Right, he was just cool.
Times have changed.
Yeah, she's like, but I love you.
Smoke in the NICU at the hospital.
Man, yeah.
Say nothing.
Oh, I had the baby. He like, but I love
Ash
you.
out on the baby.
Right.
Exactly. He said, but I love you. So, you don't understand. But she was telling him, in her words, well, I can understand.
Right.
If you let me.
Yeah. I think, it's a lot of underlying issues, but we have to really think about the space or lack thereof created for black men to express themselves, right? So when you feel the societal pressures, I gotta go to work, I gotta show up, I gotta make these people feel comfortable. So it's all in how I present and how I work, right? And I gotta work twice as hard, I only get half as far. In a lot of different cases, that's truth, right? And then you come home and you do tend to lash out on those that are closer to you. And I think the underlying issue is, it's a mental health issue, right? Like the space that men need to feel vulnerable enough to talk about what's on their mind. And I think she's right. You do come home and you pillow talk with your woman, and she's the one that's catching the end of it. So it's like, and we haven't been taught how to work on our presentation, how we share stuff, how we articulate what we're really feeling.
Right.
So a lot of that stigma is still, I think, what is preventing us from being able to navigate both, work and home without someone feeling the or paying the cost of the frustration or, the stress of the job. So it's tough.
It definitely is, especially if you're, in that realm, like the black man in charge. And like we would say, most of the time it comes from what I thought was, when I saw it earlier, was not call it, which is the James Evans syndrome.
Word.
So
tell us a little bit more about that for the folks that may not know who James Evans is.
Yes. So we know Good Times is our black cinema of us showing how what happens in the ghetto, the projects, or how we're trying to survive. They talk we scratching and surviving. Between that and the movie Claudine, it starts off of killing the black man in the home, and let's start the rise of welfare. James was finally done, playing, going from job to job to job because of his education. Went back, got his GED, finally got the best job, and what happens? Right when they was getting ready to move on up there, the kid got hit right by it and killed him off. And she had to try to survive off of welfare, getting the visitations back then. Or there's only be so many people here. There's only so many hours you can work there. And then, of course, Claudine showed that as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was beginning of the 70s of how they started, we're going to start controlling this. Well, you don't need him here.
And perpetuate,
it almost depicted on screen real life. Like, this is how your life should be. Like, all the stuff that you're watching right now, this is how it could be for you. Yeah. Get rid of the man, and then you can elevate yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, how many times have we heard that we're conditioned to believe what we see in media and entertainment, right? And it perpetuates this idea, like, if you, that same young black family in Chicago, and you seeing this on TV, it's like, well, this is normal. This is what everyone should be doing, but it doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? Because we used to it and we accustomed to it. But I think, we absolutely got to keep in mind like what we consume and how it starts to, make us conform to these certain things that aren't really good for us. You know what I mean? And people that have experienced those type of situations in real life would tell you, like, no one truly enjoys being on government assistance. You feel me? But they think like, oh, that's my only way out. I can't get a job because I couldn't get in school or finish or whatever the case may be. And man, I mean, there's layers to how deep this issue can get and what's really preventing us from making decisions to better those type of situations.
Now, as far as in mental health, and of course, that's your field and everything like that, do you see a lot of this within the black men, especially when they're coming to do any type of talk about therapy or in any sessions with like corporate America versus us and the blue collar black men? Yeah,
I can speak on my experience personally. I think, growing up, you're conditioned to think like the more stuff you go through, the better it is for you as a black man, right? This is only preparing you for the world to make you strong. So you almost start to, like I mentioned, normalize pain and going through turmoil, like, oh, this is just building me up for what I should be doing. And then you hear certain things like boys don't cry, right? You a man, like you supposed to be getting to it, you know. And then the same people that you're looking for that, you know, to empathize are the ones that's reminding you a man. You supposed to be out here and doing what you're supposed to do. That could be your mother. That could be your significant other. You know. So again, we don't have the space to really speak our mind the way we want.
Not to cut you off, but I had a conversation with a young lady. She mentioned to me, or I forgot what it was, but she said it was a post in the guy that he was getting married and he was crying.
Word.
He saw his beautiful bride coming down and started crying. I was like, that's cool. You know, I don't know what his emotion was because I'm not him, but I can only assume that emotion came because this is a day that is unknown to him. He didn't foresee himself being in that situation.
Yeah.
So she brought to my attention, she was like, any man that cry, you're not finna embarrass me in front of my family.
Oh,
you better not be crying out here. If you cried and the wedding is off, I'm like, whoa.
Right.
You willing to go that far because this man is crying? She's like, yeah, you soft. You're not supposed to be crying. You a man. It's people like, I'm not gonna, you know, disrespect her, but I don't think that's a humane thing to say. That's for anyone. Like, I think it's important for people to cry, especially black men, because we deal with so much.
Right. But I mean, when you are seen as the person that you can't show emotion because any sign of weakness is gonna put you in, you know, eyesight of defeat. You know, you gotta. It's hard to really like come around, and it's unfortunate that a lot of women have been conditioned that, oh, if your man is emotional, then he's less than.
Right.
Where now you'll start to hear some women that's like, any man that can articulate how he's feeling and express himself is actually more stronger than he ever could be. You feel me? So, but even like statistics will show, man, CDC done did all these studies, and, you know, psychologists, and black women are on average more receptive and open to expressing themselves emotionally, seeking help, whether it's from their close circle or, you know, professionals, whatever the case may be, taking on therapy. Because I think even as a society, we've given space for women to nurture and protect how they feel and whatnot. But for men, even specifically black men, we're too you know, concerned and busy with trying to survive versus, man, let me take space dedicated just to like focus on how I'm feeling. Like, that's not a thing. But it is something that we need to learn how to prioritize, and I think it's just a matter of finding ways to do that in a way that works for you, you know, not in a way that could work for somebody else. So
yeah, we've been dealing with survival over revival.
That's it.
So, you like that?
Yeah, exactly.
But, so that's a big deal. Black men not being able to vent or express themselves emotionally, that's been a big holdback. And I think, like you said, women as a whole have been more receptive to men conducting themselves in such manners now.
As of late, but you got to be careful. People close to me, I tell women all the time, you know, they claim, like, I want my man to express himself. I want him to talk about what he's going through, his problems. But a lot of them ain't prepared for that. Because I've done it personally, and I know men that have expressed themselves. And again, you either get you're supposed to be stronger than that, right? You kind of start to desensitize a little bit and play my feelings to the side. Or if you're not ready because I didn't articulate it the right way, or it didn't come off, it maybe came off more aggressive than you wanted it, now I'm crazy. You feel me? So it's like, you gotta understand, we're trying to figure it out. So like, I can applaud someone, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. You know, I applaud any person that can give a person a space to figure out whatever they're going through, but still be there to like listen, assess how they feeling, and just be there when that person needs, and even helping them get better at expressing themselves in ways where they can talk about, you know, the shit that we going through every day. So
exactly. And then what about the brothers that's out there that decide to put themselves out in the street life? There was a young lady a young guy reposted, and probably a friend of mine that I know, he reposted what goes through the street nigga and what he goes through. Well, you say you want this, but I go through losing my soul. I'm scratching for survival.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in wherever. And when I finally find something good within this woman, and you saying this is what you want, then you're asking me, why am I like this? So he's pretty much like a guarded shell because of the things that he's going through. Some of these guys go out here because there's no father figure in the home.
Right.
And they have to be the provider, the brother, and all that kind of stuff to make sure they take care of their mother.
Right.
So with that type of situation that we have, we know a lot of them.
Yep.
When is it time to say, hey man, it's time to get up out of this situation? When is it time to say, or when is it time for them to open up and let it go?
Man, I think here's the thing. Like I can't judge anybody based on their current lifestyle, especially if you got responsibilities and people are dependent on you. You know, unfortunately, I lost my father for that same reason. You know, you got 2 kids, you're 19, you know, selling drugs, streets get, you know, it takes advantage of you. But, like, you have to have something more that you're striving for. That can't be, you can't get accustomed to that. Because I think a lot of people that are in these situations, they get used to it and they don't express like, hey, this is what I'm trying to, this is just a stepping stone for me to get to where I'm trying to go. And that can be in any situation, whether you're in the streets or you at some 9 to 5 right now. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that you're more than your current circumstances. And it's subjective, right? It's going to take that individual to realize, like, man, I can do more for myself. But if you don't see it around you, you know, it's hard to even think that it's possible.
Right.
That's why we need more successful people to come back to the inner city that are trying to support these people and give them a way to pull themselves out. Not a handout, not like, all right, here's a check every year, figure out how you want to disperse it. It's like, no, you know, meet these people where they're at and showing them, you know, how you did it and just giving them information. But at the end of the day, like, you have to make that decision for yourself. Nobody can wake you up the next day and tell you to want more for yourself and your family. Like, that's on you. So you got to take some responsibility. But at the same time, I think, you know, we have to start being more open about the ways that we're making what's quote unquote successful moves. If you really care about your community and the people around you. That's why, you know, I'm somebody that's always open. If I make something that somebody may see like, damn, this is a good move. How'd you get that job? How'd you do that? Let me know. Like, I'm willing to give you every information I got because, you know, that's the only way we'll get better.
Yeah,
so.
we was actually just talking about that before we got on, about how people really didn't have access to good information to pass on, you know, to the next generation or even the people like their peers. But Alfonzo here, man, he's constantly putting out good information. I'm constantly sharing it. And I was just asking him about the real estate project that's going on with this company in DC that's making affordable housing situations for people here in Chicago, which is insane to me. But it's definitely a good look. But not to move forward, but I'm gonna move forward. There's so many levels to the black man's plight, Nikki.
Okay.
What I want to get into next is probably the biggest, and we probably will spend a good portion of this podcast talking about it, which is basically the systemic racism portion of it. So I'm gonna just kick it off. So you got black men out here. We're gonna go back to the James Evans syndrome. The black man is kicked out of the house, whether that be legally, as far as him being incarcerated or killed or whatever. So, with the black man gone, women are now able to receive, welfare?
Section 8.
As long as the black man is not there. Likely the black man is incarcerated. So he gets out of jail, right? He comes home, he tries to go back into the household. It can't happen because then they'll lose those benefits. Where do you go from there? You can't go back to your home. You can't be with your girl. You can't be with your kids. You can't get a job because now you have a record. How do you fend for yourself after that? back in the streets, basically, right?
Exactly. 'Cause you up here like she's been writing letters. She's been sending me off. Got me thinking I'm coming back home to be with these little bad little kids. Now I can't be there because you let the white man in the house.
Yep.
But that's the thinking of what goes on, period. Then that's where we come in and we say that we're super independent. We don't need him.
Yeah.
I don't need him. My welfare got 2 incomes. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case though, because at the end of the day, I can't say personally, besides the people that I know as friends, what it is to have a successful black man in the house.
Yeah.
You know,
what do you define?
You gotta define, yeah.
What do you define successful?
Yeah.
What we define as successful, meaning that from start to finish, meaning they were there to raise, nurture, to be there from the time of growing up until maybe when they become an adult. I have never experienced that. I know I haven't. There was never a man in my house for the 20 years my grandmother was living. My father was definitely not there. My father was a pimp and everything like that. And, you know, pimping over there on 83rd and Halsted. Straight up. Like, he pimped and dope my mother up. Then you got the boyfriends that be in your family's lives.
Yep.
And then they have kids with them, and then he's running. Oh, I can't do this. You know, it's too stressful. You know, what is stressful about this is what you did.
Yeah.
So then you see, as, you know, growing up, like, okay, now I have the boyfriend. How do I keep from people putting my foot on his neck and stepping on his toes and emotions to keep our thing alive?
Yeah.
And then there's times then when it comes from coming from work, of working a remedial job, and you the one that's the breadwinner. Those are the things that we like kind of stepping on now, because you're like, okay, well, baby, you make way more money than me, you get it, you know, and then, you know, this like this, and then you have to hear like, you know, I don't want to hear nothing. Get out of here and watch this boy shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So it went from the James Evans syndrome to the Lawrence syndrome.
Ooh.
That's where we at now.
I feel. Look, why y'all
Cause and effect.
Yes, I just had my shirt on yesterday.
So you got the man that was the breadwinner and was making it by any means, and now you got the guy that's a little less than, pretty much in the wings until he get on his feet, and then you pretty much down in that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you get like, cause all right.
Yeah, that's tough.
I see that. You got
the new millennium.
I mean, I think. See, here's the thing. Like, we have to realize how much we've been conditioned by our parents and grandparents and what we saw.
What's your saying? What's your saying?
My condition has been conditioned.
Exactly.
Yes, you know that's off of black.
100%. So not only have we been conditioned from previous generations, but also you got to take it into account we're conflicted with the times that we're in right now. You know what I mean? So like 30 years ago, it was hard to navigate. Man, I'm trying to find a job, take care of home. Now you fast forward 2020, it's really an opportunity for people to take more responsibility of what they do. So I give you an example. If I was, you know, not enjoying my job or I was let go, there's more access to information. There's more access to opportunities thanks to the internet. So it's like, you know, people tell you all the time, like, you know, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is the true, you know what I'm saying, gift, because I could tell you 1,000,001 things to do to get you out your situation. But if you don't want to do it, then that's on you. You feel me? So even people out here that's probably finding means that isn't as conventional as they would want to take care of their family, there's still opportunity for you to out here to make a flip. I think what happens is it's too much pride with black men. You know, it's a lot of stuff we ain't really trying to associate with or do because we either think it's, you know, I ain't no sucker. I ain't, you know, working here. I ain't doing that. You know what I mean?
And
so
social media plays a big role.
A big one. Man. So now we trying to look like we successful, but really not. And it's all in how we make decisions. So for me, I think everything stems back to your mental health, right? Like, how much self-love do you have enough to be able to make the right decisions? And again, like for me, because I've been in situations where it wasn't working, down and out, did some stuff that was unconventional. that I didn't care if people thought was corny.
Right.
But it put me in a situation I need to be in to take care of myself and what I need to do. So I think for men, you have to be okay with getting to it however you can. Internet is at your hands. There's no excuse. But at the same time, like that interaction with the woman, there's a lot of work we need to do there, right? Like we need to repair that. And when I say we, like the way black men interact and talk to black women. Maybe we haven't really like truly earned, right, a lot of that because we still got some work to do. So
I hear you.
Speak your mind.
Okay.
I hear you. I agree with that sentiment. At the same time, you mentioned how we speak to black men. Are you insinuating how we court women?
100%.
Just
All of the
day-to-day
above.
Interactions or
All of the
everything?
above.
Okay.
Yep. They had the way we treat like our significant others, daughters, our mothers, like 100%.
We hear a lot about women not feeling safe, black women not feeling protected by black men.
Yes.
Bro, I agree with it.
Yeah, because you did bring that up in one of your stories about how we run to the other race because we're not protected by our black men.
Is that the reason why? Do you think that's
I
true?
believe the reason is because you got hurt so much. You're like, man, I'm putting in something. And then at the same time, we have to take some of this deflective and responsibility too because of how we were taught how to treat the black man.
I don't think it's that.
No, we don't have some women. Sometimes because I can say me, we don't know how to talk to the black man. We use that condescending tone, especially when he's in this like he's in this funk place and you just sitting here naked. So you're not gonna get up. So what the fuck you doing today? You just gonna sit there,
Lawrence.
The Lawrence. But see, Issa didn't get on Lawrence. Lawrence just sat there like.
She indirectly got on him.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's my thing with that situation. Like,
and I haven't seen the new season.
I ain't gonna spoil it for you, bro. But here's my thing with that situation. You 4-5 years in, you forget a birthday. It's little things. It's not always the monetary right now. There's some genuine women out there that just need effort. Show me that you're doing something. Show me you have a plan. Whether you got the money for it or not, show me that you at least put in some effort, that you care about not only yourself, but the protection of me in this relationship. So I feel like in that situation, he got comfortable. He chilling. It's the middle of the day. You feel me? Like, however you got to do it, man. I would have been like trying to, I'm applying. I'm trying new things. Clean up the house at least.
Exactly.
You feel me? Like, you just got to play your part. But again, like, we got pride because we think, when I come to my woman, it got to be the best. I got the best job. This is what I'm making. This is the car. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you could work your way to that.
Exactly.
But it doesn't negate the way you should be treating your woman because your situation is messed up. And I feel like that's where we fall short. We so stressed out, don't know how to express ourselves, and then we throw it on the woman, and then we don't appreciate the little things she doing. You know what I'm saying? And then it just kind of gets out of control.
That goes back to the James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni. You dealing with all of this underlying situations that don't involve her.
Yep.
And then when you get home and you get to her, it's just World War III. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was trying to segue that. I don't know how I can, so I'm just gonna go into it. We're gonna segue into police brutality, which is the biggest issue that we deal with as black men, and this has been going on since we entered this country.
The beginning of time, yep.
Yeah, so,
100%.
So let's start it at the beginning, man, or close to the beginning, or as far as we know. So we come over on the slave ships. Some people think we were already here. Yeah, some people say we were already here.
Yeah.
And there are some monuments, like some statues of some heads, some faces that are in Southern America, or like right by Mexico, or whatever that is, that have depictions of black faces. So it's, I guess you could say that's proof that.
Yeah, I mean, well, South America is probably one of the largest areas of populated, melanated people. So yeah,
and that's when our first stops were.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you look, okay, so that depiction from American Gods, when what's my man's name, Orlando Jones.
Oh yeah.
When he
stole it,
he stole it. Like everybody was telling me to watch it, but when I finally watched that part that he broke down about not just the black man, but telling the black man, this is what your future looks like.
Yep.
That's kind of the start of what we had with police brutality is what I see.
Yeah.
Because there's no way for you to defend yourself. You sitting there taking...
there is ways to defend yourself, but from what I got from that was that these people were so terrified that they didn't know how to operate in such a situation because they had never experienced it before. These are people that look completely different from them.
Yeah.
They don't know what these people are, who they are, where they came from, and they don't know where they're going. So it's kind of, let's see what this is. Let's see what happens.
So then, what I'm seeing is, so like you were saying with the police brutality, what is it that, because it's keep happening, and what is it that the black man needs to change in order to, when they see this situation as being apprehended coming towards them, what do you as the black man need to do in order to stay on the other side of the living?
I mean, you hear debates all the time about complying versus, not complying and what we should and should not be doing, whether we were in the wrong or not. But this topic reminds me of a video I saw of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and he was just like, look, cops pull me over, I'm complying. Yes, officer, here's my identification, right? Because you want to search the car? Go ahead. Look, I don't have any problem, because I'm just trying to get home. And I think a lot of times we think we should be taking the approach like we saw in Queen and Slim, where it's like, well, he didn't do nothing. You should be able to speak up for yourself. And it's like, no, we don't have the same luxury to talk back to cops or have any type of, bravado in our voice, whether we were in the wrong or not. Because we're not seen the same. We're always going to be seen as targets. And because more cops are seeing they can get away with it, it's making it easier for them to, make that type of decision. So don't give them a reason, but at the same time, it's like we never do, right? And it's like, and it still happens. But I think understanding not only the law, right? So you know how to respond in certain situations, asking if you're being detained or not, right? And understanding your rights wherever you live. But I also think just being mindful of, your body language and how you're acting in those certain situations. But that's a tough one because we always find ourselves on the wrong side of it.
Yeah. So before the George Floyd situation, in Minnesota, Philando Castile was killed while reaching in for his wallet to show his gun license. In that situation, I was just speaking about this with someone this week. In that instance, do you think he played that right? By telling the officer, yeah, I have a firearm and I have identification, let me get that for you? Or should he just said nothing?
They already saw that he had a firearm when they pulled him over.
Oh, they saw it.
Yeah, you once they run your plates, all your information comes back, right?
So I don't know what the law is in that state, but in the state of Illinois, if you are a legally licensed firearm owner, you can't show that identification, right? So typically you can show your driver's license and all your other papers, but you are supposed to inform them that you are legally either concealing or own one. Again, look, I don't want to speak on that situation around what somebody should or should not have done, but case in point, before the officer even gets to your car, have all your paperwork ready so you can stay at 10 and 2 and it's on your dash and they can always see your hands and what you're grabbing and what you're giving them. So, he did the right thing by legally stating that he was in possession. The fact that he had to reach for some paperwork, again, gives these cops probable cause, unfortunately, right? Without the context.
But my thing is, he wouldn't have done anything. He had his girl and his child in the car. That just seems a little...
Listen, I'm with you. I'm on your side. Any person, right? Anybody like us with some common sense to be like, I'm in here with my kid, my girl. You think I'm and there's nowhere in the news black men are having shootouts with cops every other week. So it's not like this cop should fear his life because we out here killing y'all. Right. You know what I'm saying? So like, if anything, you would think people wouldn't stop at, cop stops and there'd be more speed chases or whatever the case may be. But that cop had no reason to fear his life other than, that he was a black man that also legally possessed a firearm, which, again, a lot of people don't agree with it. I personally think is one of the best ways that, we can at least stay educated and protect ourselves. So he was doing the right thing, but it's just an unfortunate situation, I
mean, you see situations like that, and it's just disheartening. You're like, damn. So this guy was doing it by the book.
He's doing it right.
He still, had that happen. So
yeah, because I mean, you can take every precaution. You can, have your stuff in a sandwich bag and have it outside the window, like people say, so you don't have to reach in. They find all kind of ways to try to ease these like interaction with cops. But at the end of the day, like, if something unfortunate is gonna happen, it's just the way things are sometimes. But you can take precautions to at least like ease the likelihood of something unfortunate happening. We know all the time, like, you can't reach for stuff in front of cops.
So what do you think about and I'm gonna ask you first, Nikki, what do you think about the landscape of what's going on now? Like, we've been having protests pretty much every day for the last few months.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have a pretty good number of alliances. It's not all black people out there protesting.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, it's as many white people as it is black people out there, to be honest, maybe more.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I have my thoughts on that, but yeah.
I definitely want to hear it if you're willing to share it. But before we get into that, what do you think about what's going on with the landscape or what's going on?
Well, I was downtown last weekend, and you would think downtown is like safe haven, and it's not. There was a shooting down there too, because they were trying to take down, they were looting again, and then they were also protesting to take down the Christopher Columbus statue, which I agree with. We should have took down all these racist statues a long time ago. Stop just waiting until...
Is he racist? I don't really know much about Christopher Columbus other than he came here in 1492
and stole some shit. That was all
he did more than steal some shit.
Right. He was he was a rapist and all type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
That was majority of them. So.
Oh yeah, all of them. He and everything like that. I feel like some are overdoing it. Some are doing it because of what's on social media. But you got some people that are truly, truly in the streets. Like Father Michael is truly, truly in the streets. And like, think about the unfortunate situation that just happened on 79th and Carpenter. All those people was at a funeral party. And the shoot out back and forth. But come on, this man was just like, when the car broke down, I saw him do a protest march. I've been seeing him protest for like 20 years.
Yeah. And
still, we still can't come together. We still not getting it. It's now, like, I feel like with NFL, that's a propaganda. I feel like with NBA, it's a propaganda. It's all about making money.
Mm-hmm.
When is it truly going to finally be about us? Like, to me, I feel like those basketball players shouldn't even play. If you really want to make a statement, start putting your money together and buy your own banks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's safe. Like, it's easy for us to say that, right? Because we don't have the safety net of wealth. You feel me? So it's like, it's really going to take... I'm all for separation versus integration. I think we've tried this far too often. Mm-hmm. We tried your government, we tried your country, we tried your language, your religion. Like, it's not working for us, obviously, because history repeating itself. 2020 ain't no different than, 82 is no different than 73. You know what I mean? Like we just see it's just a repeat.
I don't know, man. This feel a little different to me.
How so? You think more people are like about the cause now and trying
not only that, I think more white people are about the cause.
They were like that before when you had Bernie out there with Martin Luther King.
That's what I'm talking about. Bernie.
But here's the thing: even if you're talking about these corporations, man, like I think people are starting to realize that
without our doubt,
black people, 100%, that black people are starting to make decisions to buy black. We did blackout on July 7th, so people weren't spending their money. So when these companies started feeling the heat of, wait, like that's a lot of money. I mean, we contribute over $1 trillion a year to the economy. So anytime we hit their bottom line, like they're gonna do everything they can to support Black Lives Matter, to put signs up in their storefront, to do a press release because they need our money.
And that's been my argument for years when it comes to protesting. Fuck all that singing and marching and shit. That does nothing. Go fuck up the money. That's how you get your point across.
Yeah. I mean, I get both, right? Because I've done both, right? So like
I don't disregard people that go out there.
Yeah, no, but
that sing, but
it's two sides to it. Yeah, it's two sides to it. It's the same thing, but like, you can also go out here and vote. That's a way of protesting. You can put your money in other areas. You can learn something. But I think I like two sides to it because when you go out and protest and you feel it, and you really out there with people that, especially when you're out there with most of, black people and you protesting in areas that really need it the most, you can really just see, the pain on people and what they're trying to do. But at the same time, your everyday life, like you should be putting energy into, the culture, that whether that's buying black, supporting a black business, starting your own business, whatever the case may be, and getting out of this mindset that black people can't produce quality work.
Exactly.
You feel me? And I had to tell one of my homegirls the other day, I'm like, I'll support a black business twice, no matter how great the product is or service, right? Like it's obviously going to get better. My intention is the integrity behind the brand and what they doing. People all the time like the clown folks, if they got a brand that look like someone else's or they get inspiration from someone else, like, man, I ain't getting, the generic version of this. And it's like, well, support this person so they can get to, so they can get
support it.
That's
exactly.
it. So, it's definitely two sides of it. And I mean, we come with a lot of wealth. We're still like the culture shakers, so if everyone could unite, like Nikki said, and we all put our money together, all these athletes, if LeBron James started his own league, you know what I mean? They were just talking about Drake not too long ago. Drake went independent, changing the music industry. Like there's very prolific people that are associated with the black community that could change the game. But again, like safety nets, we don't understand personal situations, who they getting their money from, etc. So
like that Nick Cannon situation.
Yeah, that was tough.
And Diddy was like, come on. Like, think about it. The idea came from Russell Simmons to do something with TV. And Diddy was like, well, I'm going to go do it as soon as I get enough money to it. Now, he is, besides when we had BET, because BET is now super duper Tyler Perry. But, Revolt TV we need to hear all this. We need to see all this.
And you don't even need to be on he could go on Facebook, he can go on YouTube and monopolize twice as much as he did with Viacom. Right.
But here's the thing though, so
granted you're making them rich, but
as the story goes, he didn't trademark that idea. So again, like to B's original point, like no matter how successful you are, if you're not privy to certain information and doing it the right way, he was probably sitting in a meeting, he doing good, he got a couple of shows under his belt. Viacom was like, yeah, let's just do this show. You got this great idea. Whatever you need, we'll throw the whole budget at you. Because those relationships was good. Yeah. But now, you know what I mean? They sell. You can't depend on it. Now he's fighting for rights for $1 billion idea that he created. So you gotta get your ducks in a row before you go out here and try to play this game with these people that got a lot of control. And I hate it had to happen that way.
Yeah, but especially he's awake to what he
been awake for a while.
Right now, you know what I'm saying, because he's coming out.
We was clowning him for a minute, not me personally, but
I never clown my man.
But you know,
been my man
he been making, he been making some good moves, and he's definitely sharing some knowledge. So
he's in it.
Yeah.
And then you know, and that's the thing, like how we're saying the support of the word love has to be given and spoken to the black man too.
Yep.
You have to be able to speak motivation. And that's what's wrong with, there's sometimes with women, we do not speak into our man. You have to speak into existence of what you want from him. That's and he has to do it too, because you have to sit there and say, man, okay, I don't want this type of life no more. Well then, baby, what kind of life do you want?
Yeah.
You know, or I see potential in you.
It's funny you say that. It's very funny you say that. So, I know this chick, black chick.
Okay.
She's a black chick.
Black chick, black woman. Let me put it like that. Black woman. She's had a lot of toxic relationships.
Yep.
I was gonna say situationships, relationships, and with black men, and it's always just derogatory. It's toxic. They're always fighting, arguing, whatever. Then she gets the white guy. She's submissive. What? You see where I'm going? Why is it like that? Because it happens more often than not. If a woman chooses to go into that direction and date outside the race, they're usually more submissive to the white man.
But that goes on both sides, because that black man can go to that white woman like, she helped me build my credit.
Oh man. Well, okay.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say this: black men do go to white women because they know they can get away with some stuff.
Yeah.
100%, dog.
Because they can't get away with
a black woman. Because you don't stand a chance, man, trying to pull some of that same shit with a black woman.
Exactly.
And like a lot of times, men don't want to do the work of what it takes to court, look out for a black woman, because I mean anything that's great is gonna demand a lot. You know what I'm saying? And for me personally, coming from being raised by a single black woman, shame on me, the lifestyle I had, talking to different women and doing the shit I was doing. But I quickly realized I had to take the responsibility of what I was, contributing to this whole notion that, she got an attitude, but it was because of some shit I was doing, and like, but at the same time, I do think, when you're dating outside your race for whatever reason, which a lot of times is subjective, but yeah, people don't have to deal with as much when you're dating black, versus other races.
But that also falls into that systemic power. It's designed like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, because you associate with white, it shows like, oh, I made it. I'm successful.
White is right.
But it's like, and I think that actually it definitely adds a unique layer to this situation we're talking about now, whether it's the black man's plight or if it's police brutality and the civil rights movement we're dealing with right now. Is you get a lot of people that are in the movement and leading these conversations and causes, and their significant other is white, right? And like, and you start to ask yourself like, man, I'm listening to you, but then you go home and you with the person that's oppressing us that we talking about, like, how does that feel? And,
well, you with another race, and you
that
we can't buy nothing from, that we, you know what I'm saying?
So, we, just a quick side note, so we had this episode called Blackness.
Yep.
And we talked about being pro-black.
Okay.
So I want to ask you, can you be pro-black and still date outside your race?
Woo!
That's a heavy question.
Man,
all right, so I'm gonna give you a logical response, and I'm gonna give you a personal one.
Okay.
So a logical response, whenever I'm like pose this question or this debate comes up, I think of like Harry Belafonte, right? First black man to publicly on television touch a white woman in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
One of the leading faces in, the civil rights movement in the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
Someone that a lot of people associate with helping pushing the quote-unquote black culture forward during the time that it was most important. Went home to a white woman. but does that take away all the work he did for us? You feel me? So like, for some people, I can separate the mission versus the man, right? And like whatever decision you make on your own. But personally, no. Like I feel like it's hard, you know what I'm saying, to really go out here and expect someone to understand your fight that they've never experienced. But then again, I think if I was dating a white woman, you know, you got to think of her family, you know, other pressures that she's getting that she now has to deal with. So now I'm bringing that pressure to you, where not only are you fighting for this cause that I care about that obviously has affected me, but now you got to make a decision with your close friends and family, because you know they're going to say some shit that's going to be disrespectful. You know they're going to feel a certain way. They ain't going to want you around, you know, and it's like, what's the point? You know, I'd rather do this with a woman I know that's always going to have my back. It's been shown time and time again. Black women always show up for us, bro. So,
now you have some white women that are down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool.
So
but like,
does that change the dynamic?
But bro, I'm telling you,
I'm just asking the question.
I'm down. I mean, down because they, you know what I'm saying. They read a couple of books and they follow a few people on social media.
They've been out there. Let's say that. Let's say they under the father's flag.
That's cool, but also, man, like some things are genetics. Some things you just can't
grasp.
Yeah, and then I gotta think about my kids, bro. Like there's stuff that you could deal with that is, you know, that's hereditary. Then what if I don't want my kids inheriting something that you know could throw off a chemical imbalance? You send them out into the world. I understand. I'm just saying, bro. Some people may laugh at it, but like some of these psychological things that's in your DNA is just, for me, I just rather like build with something that, you know, I think is reflective of the type of person that I am.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were like biracial.
So my mom,
first met you.
And that's fair. And I was just gonna say, like, you know,
with the hair all wavy.
a lot of times, you know, if you are racially ambiguous, you get the fortunate of being on the side of privilege. You know what I mean? But
really, you could choose.
Right, but I remind people I'm black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I walk in a room, you know, it's the first thing I bring up. I have no problem going to my job and you know, making sure people know who I am and where I come from and whatnot. But it's just like some shit she ain't gonna understand. You know, only a black woman can understand. A black woman's intuition is different, dog. Like you need that type of energy on your side. And again, that's just me. Like I said, I don't judge people that do it. You date outside your race. It's a personal choice, but for me, like I want to marry a black woman. I want to have black kids, and we continue fighting for everything that we've been fighting since day one, and change and really just change the cycle.
Do y'all think that's why our brother Kanye West is dealing with these turbulent times? Because he doesn't have a black woman behind him.
He left the black woman.
He needed a woman that would invite him over Sage. Have an incense on, turn on some Erykah Badu,
yes,
pour him up a cup of Henny.
Sound like he need Nikki.
On me, bro. Kim ain't doing it right again. So like, like a black woman knows what a black man needs. You know what I mean? We all come from a black woman. So like, why run away from, you know, the best thing that can happen to you? So
something that media got to him. You know what I'm
saying?
Absolutely.
And I definitely agree with Alfonzo. I mean, I ain't dated outside my race before. We all probably have and everything like that. But they would not understand what happens when that N-word is dropped at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to sit here and understand, okay, well, you know, the white man had the foot on my neck. What are you talking about? No, you didn't.
Right.
No, but you're not.
That's a myth.
Yeah.
Right. You're not gonna
Microaggressions, they don't think that's real. Like even they friends, you come around their friends and people say certain things or act a certain way.
Like what's that program? Dear White People. You know, and I really referenced that with how she was dating a white guy.
Which is crazy,
I was
right?
like, you super pro-black, I love it. And I was like, this.
You smashing a bread.
Man, what's the name? Was so mad about that.
I'd be tight too. Like you know what I'm saying? Everything you say on the air and everything you known for, and you going home to. That's why it's like it's hard. That's why we got trust issues.
Exactly.
You know, and that's what pretty much stemmed that question. can you be pro-black and still?
I know. I seen it before at a job. And I was like, man, I said, this brother got some good issues. And here come Lily White. I said, that's your woman? He was like, yeah, she down for it. How? Right. She down? I said, brother, she was getting her ass whooped, but she getting sprayed down because to me, right now, I think, like you were saying, what we're going back to, we are reversing back to the way things look. We look like we were back in Detroit, back in right after, Martin Luther. Man, I felt like that.
But for some people, that could, and I'm not saying this is the case, but again, it goes back to being in close proximity to what's, to white is what's seen as safe, is what's seen as success, is what's seen as secure. So, that's probably what made it easy for a lot of people that date outside their race to feel like when I go out into the world, I'll be less of a threat because my significant other. You know what I mean? Which is why, for me,
I think people shake to that other side for security reasons.
I believe so, which is why I'm not surprised. A lot of people that you see in high appointed positions that's leading like diversity efforts at companies or that's leading like these grassroots organizations are either biracial or has a white significant other. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, for me, I gotta think like at a point, I'm gonna look at my wife and my husband and be like, well, shit, people not really gonna look at me as a threat, or if I do get in trouble, I probably know somebody, or my husband probably has a lawyer on speed dial to get me out to jail, whatever the case may be. So I do think like it's a way to kind of protect people in a sense.
Man,
all right.
We should have had you on that episode, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No, it's funny.
It would have been a debate. So I think we addressed a lot of points here about this black man plight of hitting with police brutality, dating outside your race, the James Evans syndrome, all the way into the Lawrence. Don't look at the phone. It looks terrible. It's been jacked up, shot to death. But these different points, and then of course the part about the absentee father and the things that we've seen is there by you guys are not being fathers yet. What would you instill when you do have that the solidification bond that you guys are going to bring into the world with you guys' kids?
Man, like I tell people all the time, like it's hard to foresee that situation without being in it. Like I'd have to see that situation face to face in order for me to comment on it. But for the sake of the podcast, I won't say that I'm super pro-black, but I am aware socially of the type of things that we go through. Like as far as the policing that we spoke about, I'm more so on the side of being compliant. I'm completely transparent. Yep. I'm honest when I get pulled over. There was one time I got pulled over, I was doing like 50 and a 25. I know I was doing it. I was wrong. Mm-hmm. And had no seatbelt on. I'm flying through. He came, lights come on. I pull over. And I threw the seatbelt on before he came to me. So he pulled me over. He's like, you were doing 50 and 25. I'm like, yeah, the bank is about to close at 1. It's 10:56. I was trying to get there. 12:56.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So when you drove past, you didn't have your seatbelt on. Why you have it on now? I'm like, because I knew I was getting pulled over, so I threw that joint on. That's common sense. He's like, oh, I want to thank you for being honest, so I'm not going to give you the speeding ticket. I'm going to just give you the seatbelt citation.
That's a lot. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm appreciative of that. And I know he only did that because I was honest. I was respectful. Most people, even if they're in a room, what the hell you pull me over for? I ain't got time for that. I'm trying to get to the bank. You holding me up. That's what causes the tension because you coming into the situation irate.
Yep.
You have to be as caught. These people don't want to make your life miserable. Well, most of them don't want to make your life miserable, I would say. So it's best to meet that situation in a headspace to where you know this person is just trying to get home, you're trying to get home, so let's just make the best situation possible.
Yep.
And that's how I approach everything in life. So that's what I would instill in my kids. Just be honest, be aware, but be honest, and I know I will equip him with the tools to judge situations accordingly.
Yep. No, that's important. I mean, I'm with you, bro. I know it's a lot of like highly educated pro-black people out here. I mean, hell, there's some white people out there that know more about black history than most of us. But I think for me, you know, being this idea of like black pride is just knowing you come from a rich history of very intelligent people, the skills that we came, you know, to all these different parts of the world with was God given, and just the power that we possess, man. So for my child or my children, I think the biggest thing I want to instill with them is not only that history, but one thing that I learned, you know, just in the last maybe 10 years of my life is that you don't have to follow this traditional path to feel fulfilled in life, right? Like you don't have to go through, you know, school, then college, and find a job and work yourself to death for 40 years just to, you know, live off the fruits of your labor when you're 59 and a half. Right. I think for me, it's showing my kids that, you know, ways that you can build income for yourself, making smart investments and decisions and helping them with that, to really start to build generational wealth. And I think it's, you know, how we approach the ways we make money and the ways we kind of navigate the world, and that them going to school and getting a job isn't the only way. And I think if, you know, that's going to take me being involved, trying it first, doing it first, right? So like when they come up, I can make it easy for them to start, but not dependent on the world to teach my kids and taking full control and responsibility of that. So that's going to be a big one for me, because I want my kids to like have ownership and be able to feel confident that they can do for themselves.
I think it's good for me and you in particular, because we have that balance.
Yeah.
Like, we both from Roseland, inner city neighborhood in Chicago. It ain't the bottom, but it ain't far from it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's damn that close.
Yeah. So we've seen that, but we've also seen, you know, the suburban life or outside of that inner city life. So having being able to be a part of both spectrums definitely allows you the mental insight to, you know, be able to balance the two worlds and become a better decision maker.
I agree, and I think it takes us to really the point we're talking about today as far as the topic. You know, one of the ways, I'm all about solutions, right? We talked about the problems. You know, we kind of talked about how it makes us feel and situations we're navigating, but what's the solution? Right. And at the end of the day, it's you know, economic empowerment. We need more resources. So it's like, to your point, you know, if you have people that seen both sides and have some perspective, what are you doing with that? Right. You know, are you going back and meeting these people that, you know, are in similar positions you were in, you know, when we were coming up? Are you giving them access to that same information? Right? Making it easier for them, you know? And I think it takes, for someone like myself, put my pride to the side, feeling like, you know, damn, is this imposter syndrome? Like, am I really as successful as, you know, people may see me as? And it's like, yeah, you gotta embrace that and still, you know, feel like you have a duty to help people. And I think the more we start doing that and not letting it be, oh, I'm just out of here, the faster we'll get more people out of these situations, so they don't have to, you know, deal with everything that they're dealing with on top of all the systemic shit that we have no control over.
I had my homie, shout out to William Riley. He told me, he was like, you know, there's people out there, even though you may think that this isn't where you need to be in life. Like, we have this studio situation here. You know, it's not the grandest place, but it's our place nonetheless. Yeah. And there may be people outside that may say, wow, this guy got his own shit. He recording here, he got his own deal. Yeah. He's successful. even though I may not think so because it's not where I need to be. But there's people outside of here that may look up to it and be like, wow, you know, how does he do that? How did he get that? How are they doing this?
Yeah.
So it goes back to the point you were making, like being able to spread whatever you've accumulated as far as knowledge and know-how and being able to present that. And that's the sole reason why I wanted to do this podcast, because I can't go out there and touch hands with everybody that needs the information.
Yeah.
I can bring in people that have information such as yourself and be able to present it to them in this form of audio or video. Shout out to YouTube.
Yeah.
And you know, be able to present that to them so they can have access to it that way.
Yeah, and that's it, man. That's important. We was talking about that before we got on the air about just purchasing property, knowing that real estate is the best way to wealth. And like, I think we've made this concept so difficult to understand. I'm like, oh, I have to have a certain amount of income to get into real estate. Like, that's not the case. You know what I mean? There's little things that you can do to start moving in that direction, whether it's, you know, getting your credit together. Like I said, you know, if you know someone that has a pretty good credit score in your family, getting added as an authorized user that helps your score.
Good luck.
But again, it's just little things, like little hacks like that where somebody has to do it, right? And like for me, you know, I've done some things where I don't mind going first. You know, like I don't mind being the one that'll make the mistakes, that'll try some things, maybe even lose some money, to at least be purview to the information so I can help the next person. You know, you just hope that good karma will come back in your favor, which is why I've never been the one to like keep information to myself. You know, I'm not going to share everything, right? Business ideas and the ways I'm making them happen, because you're not going to share too much of your intellectual property. But there are some things that can start helping us, you know, get to a place that we need to be economically, so we can start, you know, bettering our communities, our households and shit like that, because it's enough out here for everybody. So
absolutely,
definitely.
Yeah.
So did we mention like the solution to this black man plight? Or?
Everything leads to mental health.
Hey, low key.
Low key, it leads to mental health. It leads to communication.
And July is still Minority Mental Health Month.
Yes, I forgot, because you do keep us in line with the mental health. I definitely, you're gonna see Alfonzo on here so much more, because he's gonna talk about at least a segue of mental health, what we can do in our communities.
Yeah, we're gonna have Zoe on here a lot. He damn near gonna be a part of the podcast.
Yes.
Hey, I'm down.
Yes, because he definitely keeps us in line. He sends out some good vibes all the time. As he was just sitting here stating, he is just now, about to put his business out there. He's a new investment owner, which is a great thing. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Go out here, get a piece of what they say is the part of the American dream.
100%.
Yes. So, how do you feel about that?
I'm blessed to have made this decision to purchase a property. I absolutely agree that, real estate is how we're going to get there. And there's, people think that it has to be a huge purpose. You can start as easy with, rehab projects. You can wholesale, we can buy lots. We just need ownership. And, I really just make every decision with three things in mind. It's really just three pillars that I have in my own life, which is, you got to start thinking about financial literacy and independence. How do we gain that? Mental health, of course, making sure you're in the right headspace to make, good decisions in your life. And then we have to, make sure that we're in a position to, that we're eating the right things. Food security is important.
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah, food security is important.
The direct line to mental health is good eating.
Yeah, because believe it or not, your mood and behavior is tied to what you eat. So if
when you told us that last time, that stuck with me. It was like, well, when you're hungry, when your brain is telling you you're hungry, what mechanism is interrupted? It's your stomach. It's growling. And it made so much sense. I'm like,
or when you get butterflies, right? That's just it. Yeah. So it's all. I mean, they call your stomach the second gut. It's all just the neurotransmitters from the lining in your stomach, in your intestines that's going to your brain. Right. But if you put bad food in it, it's not gonna work out. So I've always like made decisions in my life around those three things, and I think if I would have had an asterisk, it would be obviously self-defense and protecting yourself, whether that's tactical or if you want to conceal carry. Totally up to you.
Just be careful, be safe, be smart.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, those three things have always been important: financial literacy, mental health, and food security. And I think those are the three things that really guide me to find ways how I can not only support myself and my community, but it always goes back to mental health. But like all those other external factors, once we start making better decisions in those different areas, we'll really start to solve some of these problems that we're dealing with, both in our environment and at home.
I can do that.
So man, that makes so much sense, bro. Like a lot of the things that happen in the city, like as far as like the violence and crime, it could be because these dudes eat nothing but flaming hot and cheese. You know
burning up their neurons.
Polish sausage, cheeseburgers, and
hey, I'm all about balance. I ain't gonna listen. I'm all for.
I'm not saying I don't eat that stuff. I'm just saying.
I'm all for balance. I still eat a lot of Chicago stuff, but you gotta incorporate some healthy stuff, man. Learn how to garden. It's easy. It's information out here.
Get with the CMOS. That's the hot thing now.
Yeah.
Me and Nikki been talking about that for the better part of a year.
And the alkaline water.
Yeah, you need get the acidity out your body. Measure your pH levels.
Man,
come on. That's what we
had a
need to be
debate
doing.
about the water. I'm like, man, I'm like, you drinking this Ice Mountain? That's a 4.0, bro.
You gotta
like,
be careful.
Nah.
Our comrade, gas station P, he does not believe that water tastes different.
Oh no, it does. It absolutely.
If you can't get alkaline water, the best water I think is that core with the blue top.
Yeah.
Or spring water is also naturally alkaline. Yeah, so you can get some good spring water. Essential is good one. Evian water is good water.
It's like you said, it's all about looking at that pH balance. The higher your pH balance, the better it's
But here's the thing, and I don't want to get too far in this topic, but because I think food deserts is a whole different thing we could talk about, but people haven't been educated on what we're eating. So like, I think even food labels, you know what I'm saying? We've only been conditioned to read how much sugar is in it, what's the total carbs, and then what's the sodium, because we got high blood pressure.
Exactly.
But like, you're not reading all the ingredients, even stuff that maybe claim healthy, you still got to look at the ingredients. So
like,
people,
what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And you read it and you like, well, Google, what is this?
Yeah, you find out it's in paint.
Right, they're trying to kill me, G.
Yeah, so
it's got coronavirus in there.
All that to say this, try to learn how to grow something. It's a start. So
yeah, that's probably one of my other things that's gonna happen. This has been a great topic. We all have some good endeavors going on and everything like that. I know we have another good show coming up soon with this synopsis of the black man plight, or what we would see as the fear of the black man.
That's something we didn't really tackle, but
there is a fear, fear of black men. More educated you is as a black man and woman together as a team. That's just. Man, that's a whole.
Probably be a part 2 for this.
There has to be a part 2 for this, because we have to bring another woman in here just help me with this opinion and bring Alfonzo back on here, because the fear that I don't even want to get into that, because that's gonna get some rounds up. I'm ready for it. So yeah. All right, B, go ahead and wrap that up.
That's it, man. I want to thank whoever decided to listen or watch this. We want to thank you for your viewership, your listenership. Shout out to all the viewers on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, wherever you hear it, YouTube, wherever you're getting this podcast from. We want to thank you for checking it out. We also want to thank our guest, Alfonzo Howard, here for joining us once again, chiming it up and talking about all of this good information that he's been privy to give to us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. It's always family. Can't wait to do this again.
Absolutely.
Really soon.
Really soon. Probably next week.
Say less.
But Nick, so you got anything else?
just pretty much make
You
sure.
got on all this gold, by the way.
Man, like
you listening to it, she watching YouTube video, she's getting her shine on.
Man, it's not just that,
Get
man.
your
Big
She got the memo that the dollar, the value of the dollar going down,
listen,
going up.
yes, I'm trying to tell you, that's on I bought this vision board.
Like people invest in gold.
Man, yes,
Yeah.
I swear, when you guys look back, you're gonna hear me in December. I'm gonna come on the show just like that. You're like, this woman did it. That's how you shut them out.
That's it.
That's on that's definitely on my to-do list. Just pretty much, let's listen out to late nights. Also, Boulevard Radio, TV, other new podcasts. We also have Woman, Hot Take Wrestling, and of course, Y'all Is Us podcast.
And because I said so, the new show on the podcast, the MG Network, I should say, about parenting. So make sure y'all checking that out too. That's also on Spotify. All of these are on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play. What is the one on Anchor?
Yes.
Anchor is where you guys will all for sure. Yeah, and that's just how we rock it, man.
Oh yeah. It was, beautiful shout out to man. Beautiful ownership. I think my thing has been now for going into chapter 38 will be stop stressing over something you don't own.
Yeah.
And I learned that a lot. 2 new businesses, 3. We're part of 3. If you friendly landscaping, check out Lawn and Order Landscaping. With myself and my business partner Kat. Also, we have NBC Transit now, a black-owned transportation company, small partial. And then finally our new venture that just popped up, NDO, mobile and industrial cleaning. No days off. Yeah, so we're coming and we're integrating in every place to make sure that we can meet all our black needs. So yeah, look forward to
Shout
all
out
that.
to Choose Wisely, Miss Nick out here. Getting her Jamaican vibes.
I don't sleep. I don't sleep.
Need word, come holler at Nick. She got you.
We are definitely not playing. And the gold represents what type of king and queens that we are around. And like Big Chris says, at the end of the day, you'll see it on our arms. So bury me in gold. Yes, because
Man, this is on y'all.
oh man, man! I was listening to him. I said, man, what is he resonating by bury me in gold? He's talking about even the sweet potato pie with the gold crust. Come on, Craig, you're getting us to the soul. So check us out again. We will be back same time, same channel. Also, you can see our partner here, Alfonzo, again, part 2 for every black man.
That's what it is. King B.
I'm Nikki Nick, Miss Choose Wisely.